All right, mother truckers, I want to give you a quick highlight for the people that don't have time for this information. First off, let's talk about this. We talked about the exemptions that if you're in Texas and you don't speak English and you're working intrastate, which is locally, then you don't have to actually speak English because you're exempt because of some legislation that said that there was a shortage of loggers and rock haulers, right? But Greg Abbott, the governor, just said today, no, they are looking back at that legislation, will be testing interstate and intrastate drivers for English proficiency. The second big thing is, the ATA. I know a lot of people don't like them, but they just congratulated President Trump because he's rescinding that Biden rule about independent contractors. If remember a little bit about the AB 5 law out in California, where they basically said that, hey, you can't be an independent contractor. If you're 1099, that means that you're not getting the benefits and that these companies are taking advantage of you. So you have to become an employee. There was a lot of drivers that were upset with that because there are some that actually like the 1099 model, right? First question of the day. Do you believe that the 1099 model is actually in benefit to the owner operator? Or is that a way for these trucking companies not to pay benefits and the whole nine, right? I want to take a quick moment to thank all the truck drivers that are driving through the I-35 to Dallas or from Dallas up to OKC. I have ownership of Truckers Paradise, which is basically a model where we're taking a vacant outlet mall and turning it into a truck stop and giving free truck parking to drivers. And so that's on exit 501. And I'm just thankful to you guys because we've been getting anywhere between 40 to 50 drivers parking a night for free, and that's safe parking. And the awesome thing about that is we actually can hold up to 180 parking spots at this outlet mall, right? I just want to say thank you to all the truck drivers for parking and staying the night and being safe. I appreciate you guys out there. And please share it to your friends. I became owner of this so that I can hook you guys up with free truck parking. We got a lot of great feedback from the video we made the other day where a driver needed a petition of over 100,000 signatures within a month so that we could make a change. And that was about $5 minimum a mile, and that brokers would be cap rated at 3%. And we had so many drivers that signed that. And there was a particular driver that actually said, it's not that this is going to get done, even though we would love $5 minimum a mile, but the fact that this opens up the conversation to truck drivers being treated correctly. So, I appreciate all the drivers out there for signing that petition. Now, this is very interesting news here because we know about the exemption in Texas that if you drive intrastate, that you do not have to be able to be proficient in English. And we stated that that was a legislation change that needed to happen. And the reason why, for the people that didn't get to watch the video, was because I guess they were having a shortage of log drivers, locally, and rock haulers. And so here's the thing here. Governor Abbott in Texas just came out and said that DPS will stop issuing intrastate CDLs to drivers unable to communicate in English with department personnel. So he is changing that legislation and taking out that exemption. So I'm not saying that he saw my video about that. I'm just stating that, it definitely came at a very interesting time when we talked about that video. So Texas, you are actually on the hook now for local drivers. I know a lot of owner operators don't really like the ATA, but I try to keep track of everything, right? And so on their official website, they basically were congratulating President Trump And let me tell you what this is. So the Biden rule made it harder to classify workers as independent contractors. It emphasized worker protections and reducing misclassification. Critics were saying that it hurt flexibility in entrepreneurship, especially in trucking and gig workers. The Trump administration in 2025, which stated today, is now moving to rescind it, reverting to a more contract-friendly approach. So they are rescinding that. And, you let me know, are you happy about that? Are you happy that drivers can be independent contractors again? Or do you feel like it's these companies that are taking advantage of drivers, making them the 1099, and then making them pay all this stuff so that the company doesn't have to pay any benefits at all, right? So tell me, do you enjoy being a 1099 driver or not? But they pretty much are rescinding this, making it easier for drivers to be independent contract workers again. So, of course, this channel is to give owner-operators, truck drivers, a platform where they can speak their true mind. And so I always leave these interviews at the end. I appreciate you guys, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. The first thing first is, how can people find you on social media?
You can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Patreon, and Rumble. You can find me on there under Left Lane with Lefty.
I love that. How long you been driving a truck?
25 years. Been out of it for about 2.5, going on 3 now, due to the situation of rule changes.
Okay, and I'm good with that. So yours might be more specific when I ask this question.
Mm-hmm. So what?
Secretary of Transportation is standing right in front of us. He is the camera lens, and whatever you ask him to change, maybe it's something in your personal life. I'm going to share this to him, but this is what's going to help truck drivers either in America or in your situation. Earlier today, I interviewed a farmer that was a truck driver and said that even though ag was exempt, not all of it is exempt.
No.
And so because of that, it's messing up his business. So he wanted the Secretary of Transportation to know that difference. Mm-hmm. So we're looking at Sean Duffy right now. What change would you like to happen to either help the truck industry or something that you might be going through personally yourself?
The one thing I would like to get changed, and I would like to have it go back to, would be the medical waiver, because now we're doing the SPE, which is the skilled performance evaluation. Which, all right, you can name it that, but when they changed the limb situation to it automatically eliminated me right out of the game, right out of the seat instantly when it went into effect. If it could go back to where the amputation, like if you're missing an arm or leg, that where if it's an inch above the elbow, you have to have a medical waiver. If it's an inch below, you are fine. Same thing with the leg, with the upper leg, lower leg. If it would go back to that situation, I could go back driving a truck. And I can actually be back where I could be happy and actually feel useful for something. And I wouldn't have to be in the situation that I'm in now, which is, visiting truck shows and hanging out with friends that I used to drive with.
Right. So, Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy, we need to relook at this for the qualified drivers out there that want to drive. And just because of one rule that you changed, it eliminated this man's CDL.
Yes. If you could do that, I'd be more than glad to be proud to go back in the truck, because it's something I've missed. I've missed it dearly, and it's, it brings back the memories and the emotions of being in a truck. And every time I show up to one of these, I have the inkling of getting back in the truck, and with not having any accidents. No accidents on my record for 25 years. Well, 22 years. Mm-hmm. No accidents, no safety violations, and everything was up to par. Never had any issues, and had many safety awards. Why shouldn't I be back in the truck? Why take me out of it?